My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Arcane Season 2, Act 1. And this review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But if you know me, you know that I love, love Arcane. That first season is the best season of television ever. In fact, if I'm talking about my favorite pieces of media, whether it's movies or video games or TV shows, my top three go Last of Us 2, Last of Us 1, and Arcane Season 1. I think this show is that good. The animation, the soundtrack, the character work, the just everything about it is perfection. So of course I was excited for season 2. And holy shit. Holy shit. Now, I'll be frank. It is going in some very unexpected directions. It's a bit of a slower start than I was expecting, but I still love, love everything I have seen so far. So I just have a bunch of random thoughts, beginning with the fact that the opening scene is quite effective, where you see the aftermath of Jinx's rocket. Now, there is a part of me that is disappointed that Jace and Mel survived, but it still has weight. This event is still pushing the story forward. There were other characters that did die, and it seems like they're doing interesting things with both Jace and Mel. And if that's the case, I can forgive it. And then Jace, in an act of desperation, connects Victor to the hex text to save him. And like this entire section is just going to get wild in the next couple of weeks. Like, Victor ends up being saved, but now he's like this messiah type figure. I'm very intrigued to see where that character goes, but it's definitely compelling. And I love the funeral that we have for Caitlyn's mom. Just the animation there is outstanding, and it had plenty of emotion for a character that we spent very little time with. I love how we see Vi's struggle in her place of all this. You know, she feels gross being a part of Pilt Oval, being an enforcer, but she doesn't see any other path for her, so that's what it comes to. And I love the one scene with the song Heavy is the Crown, which, by the way, is a really terrific song. And yes, I am a fan of the new Linkin Park. But I just like how that first episode shows the aftermath from Pilt Oval's point of view. How Redorda is taking advantage of people's grief, how they're getting radicalized, and how even Zon pushes back even more. There was a lot of excitement and emotion in that first episode. But then we get the second episode, which I think is called Let It All Burn. But that beginning with Jinx mourning Silco just hit me very hard. Silco is a very complex character because, yes, he's a villain, but he did genuinely love Jinx. His final words to her were, I never would have given you to them, not for anything. don't cry. You're perfect. This is the one guy who loves Jinx exactly the way she is. And to watch her struggle with that, it hit me in the feels. But then we get this great moment of where we see the aftermath of Zaun, because now there is a power struggle. Who is going to fill in for Silco? And it's set to this song called Suckle, and the look and sound and feel of this moment, like, simply put, this is why this show is the best. It really is. And I love that one scene of Jinx hanging out in that arcade as Vi and the other enforcers are looking for her. And Jinx is up above. And when she sees Vi, she starts crying. And the tears almost give away her position. It reminded me of that scene in Spider-Man where Peter is on the roof and the blood drips down, giving away his location. But the fact that it's Jinx's tears, like, it has weight behind it. Vi has become an enforcer. She has become what she once hated, and it has weight behind it. And then we get this great fight scene of, oh my goodness, what's the dude's name? He kind of looks like an animal version of the Mad Hatter, but he's so badass, and I love that scene where he has the needle to Jinx's eye and she gets even a bit closer to it. It shows how fearless she is. And then Jinx gives Savika her new arm, and this moment, like, loved it. Just phenomenal. Like, it could have just been another new robotic arm, but it kind of operates like a slot machine at a casino. And it's just so unpredictable and so stylized and so colorful and so good. It really is. It's just wonderful. But then we also get these moments with Jinx and this kid. And I don't think the kid has a name yet. But I really love the direction they're going in. Where it seems like Jinx might become a parent-like figure to this kid. And how that can represent hope for her character. And I'll talk about that more in just a minute, but good foundation there. Yeah, okay. Now on to episode 3. And, okay, like, I don't really know what's going on with this Red Wars dark magic, but I'm intrigued. Like, I love how this show is constantly giving us new stuff. Like, yes, we knew Vi and Jinx fighting was coming, but I didn't expect all this hex tech magic and this other magic stuff, and it definitely has me intrigued. Like, at the end of this episode, what happened to Mel? Where did she go? I don't know. I don't know. And we get Echo and Heimerdinger going into the Piltover capital. They run into Jace. Jace takes them down to, like, the base for Hex Tech. And this scene just looked beautiful. It really did. But what the hell is going on? Like, in the preview for next week, it looks like Jace has aged 50 years. So, I don't know what to expect, and I love that. But then we also get the big Vi and Jinx fight. Actually, I should mention that just beforehand, Vi and Caitlyn do kiss, and we see more of their relationship and how they're both willing to kill Jinx. And then we get the big face off. And I love some of the dialogue here where Jinx is tormenting Vi with the fact that she was releasing gas into the Undercity. And Vi's just like, well, I never thought you'd be the one to orphan kids. And Jinx is just like, ha! Why not? I did it to myself enough times. So good. So good. And I got a feeling that some people might be upset that this fight is super stylized. Like it is done in the format of a music video. But that is this show's style. It is still exciting and it still had emotion, especially at the end. So I loved this sequence. And Jinx loses a finger and Vi is about to kill her. And Jinx is just like, I'm ready. It had to be you. Just like the bridge scene in season 1, she is a character that wants to die. And if she's going to die, it makes sense that it would be Vi. And in that moment, Vi hesitates, only for that kid to try and stop her. And I think for the first time since, I guess, the season 1 finale, and maybe since the beginning of season 1, Vi sees hope for Jinx. Caitlyn shoots the gun out of the kid's hand, and the kid then hugs Jinx and doesn't want anything to happen to her. And you can tell that Vi is touched by this. Maybe there is hope for my sister. Maybe there is hope for Jinx. And it doesn't have to be like this. And she starts pushing back on the plan, and she gets up in Caitlyn's face, and then Savika blows the whole thing up. We get the color bombs, which once again look stunning. And Caitlyn and Vi get into an argument, and Vi's just like, well then why are you the one acting like her? And Caitlyn hits her, and Vi's just left all alone. She's now single, part of the Undercity, doesn't have her sister, she doesn't have anything. And my heart just breaks for her in this moment. I thought just this entire section had so much emotional weight to it. And at the end, it seems like Caitlyn is going to be up there with Mawada, pushing for war. And it shows how grief can corrupt someone. And I think that's a compelling character arc for Caitlyn. Like in the first season, we see that she is a good person, but here she's just overcome with grief and hatred, and yeah. And I'm very curious to see, where does this resurrection of Vandal come into play? Like in some ways, like the Hex Tech brought Victor back, and I like how he's actually pissed off at Jace for doing that. And he heals Huck, and that's a great moment. But we also see how Shimmer is going to bring back Vandal, and like so much of this show is about parallels. Peltover and Zon, Vi and Jinx, and Shimmer and Hextech. So if Hextech can bring people back, I guess Shimmer can as well. And if Hextech can cure people, what can Shimmer do? I'm just so intrigued by everything going on. Like, it's ambitious, it's a lot, but it just fully worked for me. Like I said, a bit of a slower start than I would have thought, because, you know, I thought it was going to be war immediately. But I'm glad it's taken the time to pay off on some of season 1, to set up new plots, and I just think everything here is so damn compelling, and the soundtrack is just so good. It really is. The animation is simply some of the best ever. Like, between this show and Spider-Verse movies, these are the best that movies or shows have ever looked. And yeah, I loved it. I will be talking about this show so much more in the weeks to come. I will do a rating after season 2 is done, but it's a 10. I love it. I love it. I love it. But Arcane season 2, Act 1, have you seen it? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin,